that's exactly where we are in the world today, where we see that there is a battle raging against the family, against family values, against everything that is the glue to a normal, healthy, wholesome society is being attacked, right? So the whole transgender thing, the whole identification thing, and doctors mutilating little children because their parents decided that they have a certain worldview and agenda, and so they're going to make decisions for the children, and the whole madness that, I mean, how can we even just capsulize it in a few moments what's going on in the world, and the incredible just total derailment of everything that this parasha is all about. But when you look around in it and you understand what's going on, it's exactly the same battle. And therefore it's basically, my last sentence, it is a religious war. The war that is pushing the agenda of transgenderism, etc., and all those other words, is a war certainly against the God of Israel, and I'm not ashamed to say that. I mean, it's clear as day that it is a war against everything that God represents.
Well, what Yaakov understood, and what his wives understood, the marriage bed was the holiest place in the house. It was because even the house was the home that was likened to the temple. And the table where they had their meals was like the altar, if I remember the template. But the Holy of Holies was the bedroom.
I want to put a rabbinical stamp on that. I'll just interrupt you for a minute, because there might be people that are listening that are thinking to, Jim, what are you talking about? That is absolutely true. That is a Torah teaching that, first of all, that the bedroom is holy. Second of all, that according to the great mystic understanding of what the temple is all about, the Holy of Holies, which is the place of the Ark of the Covenant, which is the representative of the two cheruvim, the male and the female angel that are facing each other, is called in the mystical literature the bedroom, because the concept of the union between male and female in holiness is the greatest emulation of the divine. And so therefore that has to be wiped out in this new agenda, and that has to be degraded, because as soon as you take that apart, then you have taken away every obstacle to total control of all the Lavans of the world today that are looking basically to control everyone.
Well, one of the reasons that it's considered so holy is, you really think about it, how when a man and a woman come together in the bedroom, they create a vessel in that child that brings down a soul into the world. It's mind-blowing when you think of it that way. And it doesn't take rocket science to understand that if the whole family suddenly turns into non-binaries and transgender and all that, you don't have a family. The family will not have any.
Thank you. That's exactly what this is all about. That's exactly what this is all about. It's to prevent the family from being what it is.
Flourishing.
Yes, from flourishing.
Propagating.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
In any event, I think that it is somehow, in some way, affirming for us. I think it is a reaffirmation, and it is a kind of like a validation when we see that the battle is ancient and it's raging today in a new form, but it's the same battle, which is basically, I'll just say, I mean, we say so many things that we could lose listeners over. I mean, if we're not about the truth, what are we about? It is basically a war against good and evil. I mean, isn't that pretty clear? That's not rocket science. Maybe it is rocket science, because everything is so obscure now. Everything is like so dumbed down. You're not supposed to think about it. That's the whole thing. Like you mentioned about the bedroom, right? Now in Torah, in the world of Jewish law, there is so much. There's so much that is said about the sanctity of sexuality, and what it and how it should be elevated for divine purpose, and the relationship between husband and wife in holiness and in love and in totally in sexually and in attraction, but it is tempered with a certain guidelines that focus on the presence of Hashem as well. And the thing is that when you don't think about it, and it just becomes something that is totally recreational, that is just totally self-indulgent, and that is self-serving, and that is self-gratification, and you basically take away from it the spiritual underpinnings, then you are left with nothing but a consuming fire. That's actually a very, very famous thought in Torah that is mentioned many times by a rabbi that's officiating at a wedding, a beautiful idea that if you take the Hebrew word ish, which means man, and the Hebrew word isha, which means woman. So the Hebrew word for man, ish, has in it the letter yud, and the Hebrew word for isha has in it the hey, which is and so the two letters together, the Yud and the Hey, form a name of God. It's an abbreviation of the name of God, right? So in other words, when godliness is present with the man and the woman together, then the Yud and the Hey are joined together between the Ish and the Isha, and there's God. But when you take out the Yud and you take out the Hey from Ish and Isha, you're left with Ish, which is fire. In other words, if you take away the divinity of the relationship between husband and wife, you're left with nothing but a consuming, destructive fire.
Right, exactly, and because it's misdirected, it's channeled in the wrong direction.